Thanks again to all the sponsors. Thanks to all of you for coming out. I want to point out second Throwdown at an MI conversation series.
Oh, yeah.
Second Scorpions at
Oh,
the
my
Sleeping
goodness.
with Sirens event.
Oh, there you go.
There was there was air guitar performed to the Scorpions.
Yes.
And fun fact that some of our MI friends could tell you, we actually had to cut that part out of the YouTube video because there was a copyright claim from the Scorpions
right,
for
of
Rock You
course.
Like a Hurricane.
Of course. Yeah.
So who knows? This might be the only time anyone hears any of this. We might not be able to actually use any of the
This is
songs
exclusive.
you're singing.
Yeah. Nope, we won't, actually, at all.
Rights and clearances.
Well, I changed the lyrics. Is that parody? Is that technically parody? You still have to get permission, though.
Yeah, I think when you start doing medleys and stuff like that.
That's true. Oh,
very
we just...
fascinating discussion of music publishing.
Nerd. Okay, let's get...
Basically, this just means you have to sing all of your own songs.
Right,
that
I
you
can only do
control
my
the
own.
rights
Damn
to,
it.
So.
Or just people I know. No, they still wouldn't give me permission. I don't know.
So from the Smoothie Place
Yeah.
to #1 on the Billboard charts.
Yeah, that's crazy. Thanks. Thank you.
What's happening? What's your next few months like?
Next few months is shows. They were, like, a month ago, I had, like, middle of February till middle of April, like, free. I was like, oh, cool, I'm gonna like learn pottery or something. I'm gonna take up like sculpting or something. And then in like the last month, it's just been filled. So it's basically just shows, which excites me because I'd rather be filling my time playing shows anyways. And luckily my time gets filled pretty quickly with shows because I try to like do the States kind of thing before going abroad just to get a feel. It's home. It's like where I feel comfortable. And then like summer tour, obviously with Weezer, which is fucking crazy. That's very crazy. To even say that, I don't think it's going to hit me until the tour actually begins.
Have you had an opportunity to tell them about the Columbia House purchase of the Blue Album?
Rivers, I stole this from my sister who got it from Columbia House. I did. The first time I met Rivers was for a co-write. This is like my first co-write. I was trying to step out of my comfort zone, see what it was like to do co-writes. It was a very bizarre, foreign thing to me. And so the first time I met him, I went to his house in Malibu, and I walk up to the gate, and it's like a little buzzer. I'm just like, hi, Rivers, I'm Brandon from Panic Disco. Here to do a writing session with you. And he's just, come in. It's very quiet talker. And I walk in, take my shoes off out of respect. He does the Japanese thing, totally back it. So we walk around his house, he's showing me around. He's like, this is my 17th century map of the world. And I was just like, this is crazy. This is, dude, you're showing me your trinkets, like in your house. This is wild. You're fucking Rivers Cuomo. So we get into the writing session. We're like halfway through this song that we were working on. And I just have to stop the session because it's too weird. Like, he can tell that I'm a fan. I can tell that he can tell I'm a fan. And I'm just like, this is getting, like, very weird. So I stop him, like, listen, dude, I gotta level with you. I gotta be honest. I learned how to play drums and guitar to Blue Album and Pinkerton. Like, you are just the best. I
Pinkerton,
love you.
20 years old this year, by the way.
Yeah, it's incredible.
2016,
They're
20th
doing a lot.
anniversary.
Yeah. So I told him this, and I was like, and that's it. Let's get back to writing. He's just like, no. That's very sweet. Let's talk about this. And I was like, oh God, it's getting weird. It's getting weird. Just let's move on. But it actually ended up being less weird because he was just like, yeah, I like a lot of your stuff. Your videos are great too. So we like had this mutual thing, and I was like, that is awesome. The fact you're even talking with me right now about something I did.
Yeah.
And so then after that, like we'd periodically email each other. It's like, hey, did you ever find a use for that song? Hey, what are you doing? Next week? Did you want to write? So it was after that, like we'd play shows together, festivals, and then I never thought in my life, 10-year-old, 11-year-old me would just be floored, be like so amazed that touring with Weezer now, like that's such a huge accomplishment. That's a highlight
And honestly,
of my career.
this is probably my favorite thing about doing this MI conversation series is everyone's a fan.
Yeah.
We're all fans at the end of the day.
Exactly.
You can peel away the layers and get to...
I'm no different.
Rivers could be up here talking about what a fan
Is he here?
he is.
Oh.
He's, yeah, and what's interesting is this brings up something else I wanted to talk with you about that we had an opportunity to talk about a little bit the other day. Pinkerton, as a case study,
Yeah.
was poorly received 20 years ago.
Right.
When it came out in
Terrible
1996,
critical
people
acclaim.
loved that first album, and then it was like, ugh,
fans were
what's
like,
the
oh,
second album?
why isn't it Blue Album again?
And it's only retroactively that it's been embraced as this touchstone for,
True.
singer Panic at the Disco, for example. And Sinatra had this whole period where he couldn't get arrested. He couldn't, no one wanted to make movies with him.
Yeah.
He was off Columbia Records and couldn't find a record deal.
It was like the better half of a decade, too. It was like 8 years or
He
something.
lobbied and lobbied and lobbied to get Apart and From Here to Eternity, and agreed to do it for scale, which was $8,000.
$8,000 for the entire
Yeah.
project. Which at the time, actors were getting paid like $200,000
Yeah,
to do it.
and then he ended up winning an Oscar for that.
Yeah.
But it brings up an interesting thing where, it's relatable for you, right?
Yeah.
There's, the slump that then, how could you have predicted, say, when that second Panic record came out, that you'd be sitting here in 2016 with the #1 album in America?
There was no way of telling. Like, through every album, there's just no way. Like, even on the first album, we had no idea. Dude, we were getting calls. Here's a really good example. This is a good story. And I'm not going to use names because no one's going to take the blame on this. And they're going to deny it till their grave. So basically, we got a call from management. This is like halfway through our first tour. And they're like, hey, the radio is playing like 5 different songs from your album. You need to fucking pick a single. So we just circulate one and build from that. I was like, is that a thing? And that just was the first time it was on my radar. I was like, is that what you do? Why can't they play 5 different songs? They're like, that's really stupid. Because everybody's going to be like, what is this song? You know that song? No, I know this one. And there's just like confusion. I was like, oh, I guess that makes sense. Not really, but whatever. So we had to pick a song, and like one of us spoke up and was like, fuck that, we're not going to go on the radio. And I was just like, and I was like, what? There's no way in hell we're denying a chance to be played on radio, especially if we get to pick the single. We get to tell them, like, the label's not even chiming in because they're just like, oh, this band is like whatever. So we picked I Write Sins, and from that point, it was like, yeah. So from that point, it was like maybe 3 months. We had a show in Troubadour, and the first time I heard it on the radio was I was on K-Rock, and I was in a friend's car at the time. Yeah, I was in a friend's car at the time, driving on Santa Monica Boulevard up to Troubadour, and it turned out, and like I didn't get it at first because I heard it and I was like, oh, that sounds familiar. Is that something? Oh shit! And then I like pulled the window down, and I was like, this is me! This is me, California! I was like so stoked, and. It was just like the coolest moment of my life. I jumped out of the car, like my friend's like trying to park the car. I'm just like, woo! And I jump out. I'm like, dudes, we were just on the radio. Holy shit! And we did that thing you do moment. We were like jumping around. We're like, woo! This is crazy. So it ended up just working out. But it was a very unconventional thing for like a band to pick their own single and like not be headed by some grand scheme done by a label. It was very weird.
Yeah.
And we didn't know that until like that happened.
And would you what would you attribute that to? Is that the fact that you were on an artist-run imprint, I'm sure, was a huge help for that?
Huge help. Having, Pete, who had been touring and kind of knew the ropes a little bit, it was like having a big brother being like, hey, if you do this thing, this is probably going to happen. If you make this choice, it might take you down this path. And so we had, people telling us like, you can make your own decision, but I'm going to tell you most likely what will happen if you do this. And that was a huge, huge help in getting started because I think if we didn't have that guideline, oh man, I don't even know what would have happened. I don't think I'd be here right now.
And that's a really nice happy medium too, because there's a gulf between people telling you what to do and people being totally hands off and going, do whatever you want to do.
Right.
And having that middle ground of someone that's like, well, let me present the options to you
Exactly.
and tell you what A, B, and C could result in.
It was the healthiest way, the most conducive way of making this the healthiest relationship for everybody. And it really worked. It was great.
What was some of the best advice you got from Wentz during that time?
That might take a little bit to think.
It's a thinker.
He said, he actually tried to warn me against like having a beer in the morning. I remember when he told me about that. Because he used to he still has a friend named Dirty, but Dirty used to tour with Fall Out Boy, right? You guys know about Dirty? If you don't know, I'm going to break it out right now. His real name's John Miller, just so you guys know. I just broke the fourth wall. I just killed your fucking fantasies.
We don't do secret identities at this thing.
So I'm revealing the superhero that is
out.
Dirty. So Dirty, we get off the bus. I think we were in like Massachusetts somewhere, and he's drinking a beer. I'm like, the fuck? Like that was crazy to me. Drinking a beer at like 8 a.m. I'm like, what the hell? And then it was like 5 years later. I'm like, I get it. Yeah, I get it now. I totally get that. But Pete's kind of just always been there in times when I really needed him with label and stuff. And also personally, yeah, but mostly with business. Like he's a very strongly business-minded guy. but not to say that he's some like corporate-minded, like fuck you, pay me, dude. It's actually the opposite. There were times where, you know, certain things would come up where the band might get screwed over, and he would have to be on that label side. So he would come in secretly, like behind the closed doors, and be like, all right, so this is what's gonna happen, dude. These guys are gonna come in for a meeting, and they're gonna try to convince you to do this. Don't fucking sign it. Don't fucking sign it. Hey guys, come on in. And so he like saved us a bunch of times, and they would come in and try to convince us, like, oh yeah, no, sign this deal. And we were just like, no, we're good. Like, winking at Pete. So he's always been there in times that we really needed him. It wasn't like be there just to be there, just to like have your imprint on this band.
And I think this is important too. And we were talking about this at our last event with the Good Charlotte guys because they have their management company now, and Jessie J ended up popping out on stage with them as one of their clients.
She's phenomenal.
Over the years, you'll hear a lot about bands starting their own imprints or artists starting their own imprints. And a lot of times, I think people don't understand is it's a vanity thing. It's just another logo on the back of the record. And so I think what's really outstanding about your situation, your relationship with Pete, is he is actually involved.
Yeah, I think that he's had other examples that have helped him too, but he definitely set a tone for how it could be. That was huge. That was a huge. The first time I knew about other artists creating like mini labels was when Fat Mike did it at Fat Records, and I was like, oh, he's got making compilations, Punkaramas, and Physical Fatness, and like all this stuff. And that was like the first time I was introduced to punk and that whole world, and to know like
Brett
an artist can
Gurewitz
do
from
this.
Bad Religion,
Exactly,
Epitaph,
exactly.
Sure.
And that's the coolest thing, like to an artist doing it for the artist, because a lot of time it's not. It's the suit doing it for himself with the artist, or for the whole.
This reminds me actually of how Throwdown came up last time.
Oh, really?
Dave Peters famously said, and I always repeat, never trust anyone in the music business who didn't try to start a band first.
Fair enough. That's a very good piece of advice. Good tip.
I mean, we're all fans, right? Yeah. And there's just something off about the person that's in the business side of it that never.
When the guy comes in and he's like, "Hey, that was really hip. That was really hip. Guys, really good job. Good job." And you're just like, "You're fucking weird, bro. What's your energy?" And normally that doesn't work out to like hang out with that dude, but they're all nice people. But it's just like you have to relate to somebody on a certain level, and that's where it helps to have someone like Pete.
We're going to open it up to you guys here in a minute. Since we started doing these, a lot of artists are reluctant at first because at first we were calling it a lecture series, and people were like, Musicians Institute lecture? Like, I'm not qualified to do that. Usually, by the way, the people who said that are qualified.
All right, guys, if you're going to get into mixolydian scales, you're going to want to I'm not going to. That's what you're here for.
You should always be afraid of the person who's like, yeah, whatever, no problem. See you there. Yeah, it's always the people that are like, I don't know if I'm qualified to do that. Yeah. I mean, I got to say, I think he's doing all right. Yeah?
Am I doing okay? Not divulging too much weird shit.
But part of how I was pitching this once upon a time is I was saying, well, it's like inside the actor's studio for bands.
Yes, it totally feels like that.
And
you're very much James Lipton. Thank you. Isn't he just like James Lipton? He's just like James Lipton.
I will be bringing note cards at some point, but I've wanted to do this every time and haven't done it, and this came up in the green room earlier. The Proust questionnaire. It's a famous set of questions. Even deader than 311. You guys are going to love it, I swear. It's questions like, we'll start with, what is your favorite virtue?
Honesty. I've always liked honesty. I've always considered myself to be pretty honest. That's a lie, by the way. It's a straight up lie. No, I'm just kidding.
What are your favorite qualities in a man? It's a Proust questionnaire, some French philosophy.
Yeah, I think you need to have self-assurance. You need to know kindness, and some ambition. I think it's important to be ambitious.
And you gotta be Brendan Urie.
Hey!
If you want to be a man, you gotta be me.
And can you guys wait for it? You know what's coming next, right? What are your favorite qualities in a woman?
Same deal, yeah. Same deal. Self-assurance, ambition, strong back,
a good
strong thighs, a hairy chest.
Left hook.
Wait, is this a man or a woman?
Good right cross.
Woman. Yeah, hairy chest, big penis. No.
You were beaten by your sisters as a young man, so we understand.
No, I think that goes for man and woman.
Especially with Suge White sitting over there. What do you appreciate the most in your friends?
Oh man, their honesty. Like that's the thing that I look for the most. If you're straight up with me, like that's the most admirable quality. That's something I have the most respect for. You know, you can just be honest. You could even be saying something totally disrespectful, but if you're honest, I can't fault you for it. It's like, cool.
Speaking of faulting people, what's your biggest fault?
I tend to talk
This whole
over
crowd
people.
is like, he has no faults.
I have many, and I.
Were you going to say you tend to talk over people and finish their
I tend to talk
sentences?
over people.
I can't imagine
well,
what
there's
that's
a thing
like.
that.
I
Well,
can't imagine
hold on.
that.
Let me. Okay. So, I really do though.
I find that really unrelatable. I can't relate
God
to
damn
that.
it! No, I really do. I tend to get overly excited when I'm explaining something or telling a story, and somebody else juts in, then you know.
It's because your mind is.
I'm going a mile a minute. This thing up here, it's hard. I'm just like. So you guys like sandwiches? Well, my brain just jumped to sandwiches.
If not yourself, who would you be?
It's still one of the best worded questions. If not yourself.
I tried to do the Lipton
Yeah,
look
yeah.
away, but I couldn't commit to it. I did it too fast.
Yourself.
If not yourself,
And the creepy turnaround.
who would you be?
Yeah. Yeah, I could say Sinatra. That's the easy answer. You know who's one of the happiest people in the world is my dad. I've always just, I knew that was going to happen. But it's true. It's very true. My dad is one of the happiest people I know, one of the most supportive people. Yeah, I mean, I got all my good traits from my parents. That's really true. And all my bad
awesome.
ones from my siblings. Assholes.
That leads us right into, there's a few more of these. I swear I won't do them all. Your favorite color
I knew it was going to be the...
and flower.
Ooh, okay. My favorite color is basically blue. But when I was a kid, there was a crayon by Crayola called Cerulean, and I thought it was the nicest blue. It had hints of green. It had a little bit of everything.
Can I just say, of the wide range of knowledge you have about so many subjects, I'm really impressed by Crayola.
I like mauve.
I got like a little chill at that name drop just there. Who are your favorite heroes?
Oh, wait, I didn't do flower. Sorry.
Oh,
Favorite flower, plumarias. All right, continue. Sorry. And favorite color flower. No,
stop talking over me.
I told you, bro. I told you.
What are your favorite heroes in fiction?
In fiction, always like John McClane.
Yeah.
He's just like the most badass dude, you know. Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker. That's just like, you know. God. What's his name from? Who did Alan Rickman play in Guardians of the Galaxy? By the hammer of Gravlock, or what was the? Thank you very much, Dr. Lazarus. I always like that
Galaxy
character.
Quest.
Sorry, not Guardians of the Galaxy.
Guardians
we were just
of the
playing
Galaxy
the soundtrack,
Quest.
Galaxy
We'll
Quest.
fix that.
Sorry about that.
We'll do some ADR.
Yeah, you know
with
who I
later.
like in the Marvel is Batman, dude. He's the best. That's totally what just
We'll have
happened.
you come by a studio and record some ADR. We can.
Yeah, when
dub
I say
over that.
Batman, it's Superman.
Yeah.
Terrible.
Exactly.
It'd be a karate film.
Some of these I'm
God
just
damn
not.
it.
Oh,
It's
you
all
know,
gone off the rails.
I think this question will be enjoyed. Your favorite food and your favorite drink.
Ooh, my favorite food is sandwiches, just in general. Something that I could eat every day is a turkey sandwich. Simple. I don't know why. I just really enjoy them. My favorite drink, alcohol.
Could you be more specific?
Alcohol. It's either whiskey or beer, but whiskey is my cold season drink. When it gets cold outside, I go brown liquor, Brown Town. And then when it starts to, LA only really has like a month of cold, to be fair. So I get like a month of brown liquor, and then I'm back to beer. So there you go. Beer is like my go-to.
Is that beer in your cup?
No. I don't know for legal
Is it
reasons if I can
Sunday?
say it is. Yeah. It's not alcoholic. It's
Okay,
fine.
there's a whole bunch more from the Proust questionnaire, but I'm just going to ask you one more before we turn it over to
Okay.
the audience.
Okay.
What are your favorite names? Say, for example, for children.
Gross. Kids? Ah. Favorite names. Sure.
It's like The
whatever
Price
your
is
guys'
Right
names
right
are.
now.
Fuck it. I don't know. If, I have a lot of nieces and nephews. I really like their names. I have a nephew named Dexter. I really like that name.
Yeah.
He's a badass.
Watch out for him.
Yeah, he's a total badass. He's the nicest kid, but man, he can dance like a motherfucker. I really like the name Dexter. That's a really cool name.
Dexter's good.
Girl name. I like Emma. Emma's a really. But I just watched Friends, so I was like, that's why. I don't know if you get that reference. Yeah, Emma's a really pretty name. I like that one.
Those are good answers.
Yeah.
There's no wrong answer.
Brendan's a good name too.
Yeah. On that note, we have 2 microphones set up here.
Oh, cool.
Feel free to form orderly lines.
Cool.